Hi, I'm Dave Pryor, and the new Smalley is here.
Hello.
And we wanted to just offer some quick tips for anybody who's getting ready for a TAC panel, because it is a pretty stressful thing.
It is.
And we both have some ideas about things you could do if you're trying to get ready for it. One thing, the way the panel works is you're going to get interviewed first, and then we would ask you to step out, we'd pick a topic from the list of topics you've been emailed by the Scrum Alliance, or it could be a topic of our choosing.
Yep.
And then when you come back in, we'll tell you what the topic is, and you'll have some time to prep, and then you're going to come back in and teach. And that's the part that people get the most stressed about, so we're hoping that this would help you get ready for it. When you're teaching, you want to treat the people on the panel as if we are students in a classroom.
All 5 of us,
Yes.
including the Scrum Alliance staff.
Right. So what we're looking for there are things like your interaction with the people
Yep.
that are in your class. If you notice that they kind of are not following or not tracking, you might want to change the way that you're doing stuff. We had someone in a TAC one time, I asked a question and she started to answer it and was drawing on a flip chart, and I asked a different question and she tore the flip chart off and taught it in a completely different way, and it was very impactful.
And it was impactful because she recognized that we were not quite following what she was drawing the first time based on the question asked. And she said, okay, so I'm not just going to repeat what I've just said, because that obviously did not get through, so let me try a different way. That's what we're looking to see. Are you picking up on the fact that some of your students have confused looks or going, huh? Asking questions that are so basic. And just by repeating what you've just said doesn't make it clearer.
Yeah.
Try a different approach.
The same way you would in a class. You want to respond to the students. Now, a lot of people get stressed about the topics, so that's something we want to talk about. You've got some advice about how to do that, right?
Yes, so when I went through the TAC process myself, the first time was not successful. And the best piece of advice I got as I was practicing for the second time I went in front of the TAC by Dave was, we get 20 minutes to teach a section, and that topic can be anything Scrum related. So you should be ready to teach anything about Scrum. But don't practice for 20 minutes. Practice for 12, maximum 13 minutes. The reason for that is the students on the panel are going to ask you questions. Hey, what do you mean by this? Can you repeat that? Give yourself time. And give yourself time to set us up in the beginning. For example, if we give you sprint planning, you're saying, well, so far, we're going to pretend we're in a 2-day class. I've covered this much. I haven't covered this much. So this is class management technique. So give yourself time to set that up, and for questions, 12 to 13 minutes. What I did was, so for the second time around, I had topics on a little piece of paper,
Yep.
and I printed out the Scrum guide and gave it to my husband, and he would just, anytime, in the middle of cooking dinner sometimes, he would just pick up a topic and say, hey, hon, Scrum Master, go. And I would have to drop what I was doing and teach for 12 to 13
Without
minutes.
anything prepared. I think
Without
that's an important
anything
thing.
prepared. No preparation. Go for 12 to 13 minutes, and he would look down the Scrum guide to make sure I got all the points, and he would say, okay, good to go.
Yeah, one thing I usually, which is maybe a step further, I like the idea of all the topics in a hat, but let's say that Anu got home and her husband would pick the topic out and say, Scrum Master, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the idea is that if it's like 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 7 minutes or 12 minutes, one of the things that I like to be able to see is that you are running through in your head all the points you need to hit, and figuring out which things you're going to have to take away because maybe you don't have enough time, or if
Right.
you were going to do an exercise, how can you shorten it like on the fly
Right.
really quickly? Because that's the kind of stuff that happens to us in class, and when you're at the panel stage, that's kind of the expectation we have of the people that come in the room, that you're working at that level.
As a CST, yes, in a classroom you have the 2 days to kind of bring things around and connect the dots. But imagine how many times I can tell you I have been stopped by clients and saying, hey, can I ask you a quick question? I had this doubt about something. They don't have 2 days to sit in front of you at that point. Right. They're looking for a 5-minute, 3-minute quick answer. So I'm confused about sprint review. What's the most important thing I should tell my team about sprint review? Don't take 20 minutes. What's the brief? What is the essence of what you want to get across? Practice that, and the 20 minutes will be a breeze.
Yeah, and if you're going to do an exercise, make sure there's time to like come back to it.
Right.
If you're going to try to do like a training from the back of the room thing, you're going to need to have time to finish it and to debrief at the end. So Anu just mentioned something. The first time you went through, you did not make it.
I did not.
And I think it's about 50% that don't make it through the first time. So when you get to that stage, one thing that we want to remind you of is that what we want to do is help you. So it might be, you might get a no the first time through, but it's more of a not yet. That's the way we tend to look.
Yes.
We really want to help you get there. And so anything we can do towards that end is something we definitely are committed to.
Absolutely, because by the time you've got to the panel, you've invested time, energy to build your materials and money
yeah.
for travel and all that, taking vacation time maybe, time off from work, family. You've invested all this, you built your materials, you've done your co-training, you've practiced, you've done all this training techniques, you've learned training from the back of the room or other stuff. You've invested so much. So by the time you come to the panel, what we want to do is just say, great, you are awesome. But in order for us to do that, we want you to show us that there is a good mix of the Scrum knowledge and training
The ability to deliver it.
Both.
Yeah.
Right? I had a candidate ask me, so if I just do great facilitation, is that enough? I'm like, no. We want you to teach as well.
Yeah.
Because we are looking to see, do you have the Scrum knowledge plus the training ability? That is what we are looking for on the panel. And if you've invested everything till then, that should be a breeze.
Yeah, so we definitely want to help you get there.
And the one other piece of advice I was given, again by Dave, was I remember the first time around, I was so scared. I was so nervous. I'm like, oh my God, what if I don't make it? Well, I didn't make it. I was miserable. And second time around, I was like, oh my God, what if? And Dave said something to me, apart from the 12-minute thing. He said, don't forget, these are not people who are better than you, who are above you or superior to you.
They're your peers.
They're your peers.
Yeah.
So walk in as if you are teaching your clients. I walk into my clients, I'm confident. I know my stuff. I'm here because I'm the expert. So walk into the room knowing we are your peers. We're not better or above, we are just peers. And all we're trying to do is ensure that this community of trainers is at a certain level. By the time you get to the panel, you're already there. It's just a stamp of approval.
Well, after they've delivered and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not horrible, mean people.
Well, you're horrible.
Well, I am.
Anyway, that's it. So if you have any questions, if you want to get in touch with us, do you want to give your email address if they want to reach out to you?
Sure. It is Anu, A-N-U, at Kapala Consulting, C-A-P-A-L-A Consulting.com.
And mine's easier. It's Mr. Sungo, MRSUNGO @gmail.com. Thanks.
Thank you, and good luck.